Hey everyone! Today, we're diving into one of the most fascinating and mind-blowing topics in science, the theory of evolution. This idea has not only transformed our understanding of life on Earth, but has also changed the way we think about our own origins. From tiny, single-celled organisms to the vast diversity of plants and animals we see today, evolution explains it all. If you've ever wondered how species change, adapt, and survive through time, stay with us as we explore how evolution shapes life as we know it. Let's start by breaking down what the theory of evolution actually is. In science, the word theory means something very different from what it does in everyday language. A scientific theory isn't just a guess. It's a comprehensive explanation based on a large body of evidence built over years of careful observation, research, and testing. The theory of evolution suggests that all life on Earth is related, and that species change over generations through a gradual process. But this idea didn't just appear overnight. Charles Darwin is the figure most associated with evolution because, in 1859, he introduced the theory to the world through his groundbreaking book, On the Origin of Species. In it, Darwin proposed that species evolve over time through a process called natural selection. He suggested that all living things share a common ancestor, meaning that, if we trace life back far enough, we'll find that we're all connected. Darwin's theory was bold and controversial for its time, challenging traditional beliefs about the creation of life. However, as scientific knowledge has expanded, more and more evidence has emerged to support his ideas, making evolution the foundation of modern biology. At the core of Darwin's theory is the concept of natural selection. This is the process that drives evolution forward, favoring individuals within a species who are best suited to their environment. Here's how it works. In any environment, resources are limited, whether it's food, shelter, or space. Organisms in that environment compete for those resources, but not all of them are equally equipped to succeed. Those with advantageous traits, such as better camouflage, speed, or a stronger immune system, have a higher chance of surviving and reproducing. Let's take a specific example. The peppered moth in England. During the Industrial Revolution, pollution darkened the trees with soot, making light-colored moths easy targets for predators. However, darker moths, which had once been rare, now blended in better with the soot-covered trees, giving them an advantage. Over generations, the population shifted to include more dark-colored moths, as they were better protected from predators. This change was due to natural selection. Darker moths survived, reproduced, and passed on their color trait. Another great example comes from bacteria and antibiotic resistance. When we use antibiotics to treat infections, most bacteria are killed off. However, if a few bacteria happen to have a mutation that makes them resistant, they survive and multiply. Soon, the entire population can become resistant to that antibiotic. Natural selection is a continuous process, shaping life in real time as organisms adapt to survive in their changing environments. So, what proof do we have that evolution is real? Science has uncovered many lines of evidence to support the theory of evolution. One of the most powerful is the fossil record. Fossils provide a window into the distant past, showing us what life looked like millions of years ago. By examining these ancient remains, scientists can trace the development of species over time and observe how they have adapted. For example, the fossil of Archaeopteryx, which dates back around 150 million years, shows a mix of dinosaur and bird traits, like feathers, but also a long, bony tail and teeth. This discovery suggests a link between reptiles and modern birds, showing how evolution bridges different groups of organisms. But fossils are just one piece of the puzzle. Genetics has become one of the strongest supporters of evolutionary theory. DNA studies reveal how closely related different species are and point to a common ancestry. For instance, humans share about 98.8% of their DNA with chimpanzees, our closest living relatives. This close genetic similarity suggests that humans and chimpanzees diverged from a common ancestor around 6 to 7 million years ago. Embryology, the study of embryos, also offers evidence. When comparing embryos of fish, birds, and humans, scientists have found that they look remarkably similar in their early stages of development, with features like gill slits and tail-like structures. This suggests that many animals share a similar starting point in their evolutionary history before developing into their unique forms. If natural selection still feels abstract, let's look at something easier to observe: artificial selection, which is evolution driven by human choice. One of the clearest examples of artificial selection is in the breeding of domestic dogs. Thousands of years ago, all dogs descended from wolves. However, humans began selecting wolves and later, dogs with specific traits like size, temperament, and color, breeding them to create distinct breeds. Today, the result is an astonishing range of dogs, from tiny Chihuahuas to massive Great Danes, each breed adapted to specific human needs or preferences. Another example is seen in agriculture. The corn we know today is a product of artificial selection. Early farmers selected plants with the biggest and easiest to harvest kernels, slowly transforming a wild grass into the large, multi-kernel corn we eat today. Artificial selection shows us that, even over a few generations, choosing certain traits can lead to significant changes in a species. This same process occurs naturally with selection in the wild, but over much longer time frames. And how do we humans fit into this picture? The theory of evolution also sheds light on our own origins and development as a species. Research shows that humans share a common ancestor with other modern primates, like chimpanzees and gorillas. Around 6 to 7 million years ago, our evolutionary paths diverged from these primates. Over millions of years, various species within the human lineage appeared, each with its own adaptations, like larger brains or the ability to use tools. Eventually, our species, Homo sapiens, emerged with unique traits that set us apart. One fascinating adaptation in human evolution is the ability to digest lactose as adults. In societies that began herding livestock and consuming dairy, being able to digest lactose became an advantageous trait. Those with a genetic mutation allowing them to digest lactose had access to a continuous source of nutrition and, as a result, a better chance of survival. Over generations, this ability spread through certain populations. In other parts of the world, where dairy wasn't a primary food source, lactose intolerance remains more common. These variations and adaptations show how human populations have evolved differently depending on their environments, contributing to the diversity we see among people today. Evolution not only explains our physical differences, but also helps us understand how our ancestors adapted to changing climates, diets, and lifestyles over millennia. And that wraps up our deep dive into the theory of evolution. From fossil records to genetic discoveries, there's a mountain of evidence showing how life has evolved and adapted over time. Evolution is like a grand story, explaining how simple organisms gave rise to the complexity of life we see today, including us. As scientists continue to make new discoveries, our understanding of evolution deepens, but its importance remains clear. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Let us know which example of adaptation surprised you the most. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.